Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
Alright people, so some good news coming out today. And I find this good news because this to me is a fight that is extremely entertaining. It's on paper it's going to be a very good fight. Two top welterweights. I'm happy about this. So it says here that Terence Crawford versus Shawn Porter is now a done deal, set for November the 20th at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Top Rank's Carl Moretti has confirmed Crawford's WBO welterweight world title on the line. Purse bids cancelled as Top Rank and PBC have reached an agreement. So remember, I think it was a fortnight ago, don't quote me on that, but I think it was a fortnight ago where the purse bids were actually scheduled, and that got pushed back. It was due to take place today. Now I wonder if the fact that PBC and Top Rank have reached an agreement had something to do with the fact that Eddie Hearn said that he was looking to put in a bid for this fight. Because let's not forget, the Zone have very deep pockets. They have very deep pockets, and they could easily go and try and win the bid for this fight and put it on the Zone. And if that was the case, you have a PBC fighter, you have a Top Rank fighter fighting on the Zone. I don't think either organisation would have wanted that. I know Bob Arum hasn't been exactly complimentary of Terence Crawford, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Bob Arum is Terence Crawford's promoter. I'm sure there are fighters that Eddie Hearn maybe doesn't have the most love for. I think it's probably the best way to put it, because maybe they don't make him that much money, or because they've had a few losses. But he still doesn't go around talking about how much money he's lost from them. He still doesn't go around berating them whilst he's still working with them. He doesn't do that. But Bob Arum's done that with Terence Crawford a couple of times last year. He did it. So that's Bob Arum for you. But they've been able to get this fight over the line. Hasn't come to purse bids, so I'm assuming they'll probably just do a joint pay-per-view. Probably a bit. Well, I imagine it'd be pay-per-view. Could not be, but I probably would be pay-per-view, to be fair. But I'd imagine they do something like what they did with Fury Wilder, or are probably going to do it as well in this trilogy fight, where it's on both platforms, so you have a choice. And I think what they end up doing, what they did for Fury Wilder, the rematch, was they got like the commentary teams and they just kind of split them. So I think Top Rank had some PBC commentators, BBC some Top Rank commentators. It just did like that. I think HBO and Showtime used to do that back in the day, whenever they would have joint, promotions and stuff like that, or joint, networks. They used to do that as well. So look, we're getting this fight. I think it's a very good fight. Both guys have been out of the ring, or will have been out of the ring, for over a year at a time. I think Porter fought in August last year against Formella, which doesn't really set you up for Crawford. Crawford fought last November 14th against Kell Brooks. So both guys would have been out of the ring for one just over the year, and the other, I think, 14 months, give or take. So, I think this is a good fight. It's a good fight. It will be Crawford's best name at 147 pounds. Shawn Porter, in my opinion, is still a top welterweight. He's still a top 5 welterweight, in my opinion. And I think that Shawn Porter he's always, even in his losses, he's always been in competitive fights, and he's always been in close fights. If you look at the Kell Brook fight, that was close. I actually think, because I remember watching that fight, and I watched it on Sky at the time, I'm pretty sure Sky had Shawn Porter winning that fight. Now, me personally, I felt at the time Kell Brook did win the fight, but I'm pretty sure that Sky scored that fight for Shawn Porter. I know his fight with Keith Thurman. When I watched that fight live, and that's 5 years ago. It's crazy to believe it's been 5 years, but that was a hell of a fight. If you've never seen Shawn Porter versus Keith Thurman, watch it. It was a brilliant fight. I remember at the time, I actually felt Shawn Porter won the fight. Subsequently, I've gone on to rewatch it several times, and I do feel Keith Thurman was the rightful winner, but it was definitely a close fight. If you had Porter winning, got no issue with that. Goes in there against Errol Spence, and that was pre-car accident, or pre-car crash, I should say, Errol Spence, and it was a very close competitive fight, split decision win for Errol Spence. But again, he's always, even if he's not beaten these guys, he's always been extremely competitive against them, to the point where you could argue he's won a couple of them, So Shawn Porter, and he'll be naturally bigger, very aggressive. One of the most physically strong welterweights you'll ever find is Shawn Porter. He's incredibly physically strong. So for me, this is an interesting fight. It's a good style matchup. I think Crawford, if he beats Shawn Porter, and I say if, I will pick him to beat Shawn Porter, but I think if he beats him, There's always that possibility. Some people will say that this is maybe a Porter who's seen better days, and whilst I'd agree to a certain extent that this isn't peak Shawn Porter, I still haven't seen enough regression from Shawn Porter, certainly not in the last fight. He looked a bit disinterested against Formella, more so than anything else. I've certainly not seen enough regress from Shawn Porter to say that, it's not going to be the same Shawn Porter who fought Errol Spence or anything like that. I'm sure he's not going to be as good as he was then, but I can't imagine he's going to regress that much. It's not going to be like Kell Brook versus Terence Crawford. Certainly not like that. So I'm looking forward to this. I think it's a good fight. I think it's an excellent fight, and I'm just happy that it's getting made. It's just it drives me nuts when there's good fights ordered and it just don't happen. I'm glad it got made. It's just that I just wish this would happen more often. If PBC and Top Rank can work together on this, why couldn't they work together on Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence? Why can't they work together on more fights in other divisions? If PBC and Top Rank are willing to work together on this fight, and bear in mind, it's in the welterweight division, WBO world title on the line, Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter. If they can work together on this, what's to stop them working on Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence? That is a genuine question. If you can do this, why can't you do that? There's no crossing the streets or anything like this. Why can't you do Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford? If Crawford comes out of this, because you've done it with this, you've done PBC, Top Rank, you've put them together, you've done it now. No excuse as far as I'm concerned. If Terence Crawford comes through this fight, if Errol Spence has an interim fight and he gets through it, because I say if, because God knows what will happen with Errol Spence, that injury could be bad, but if we can get this all out of the way, what's to stop Errol Spence, Terence Crawford next? That crossing the street thing doesn't work for me. This is a fight that I am absolutely peeved off that we've not seen, because I think it's an excellent fight. It's one of the best fights that can be made. So I want to see, that's the fight I want to see. But for now, we have this, which is a very good fight. Don't get me wrong. It's an excellent fight, I believe. I really am looking forward to this. So I'm glad this fight has been made. It's a good fight. It is. I'm not going to take a you-know-what on this. I think it's a good fight. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could, smash the like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. For now, lads and lads, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope, as always, you enjoyed it. I hope you've been having a good day. For now, I'll talk to you. Peace.